I'd rather do anything than make this video, but genuinely I'm in a mental state that I've never been in before, and it's very scary. I know that this video is going to disappoint so many people. I know the comments are going to be filled with, I'm so disappointed, I knew she was a fake Muslim. People's definitely going to be saying that. People's definitely going to be saying I use the religion for clout. They're going to be saying I knew she was going to take the hijab off, all of this stuff. I'm actually just going to have to firm the comments because genuinely I'm like actually losing my mind in a serious way. I love the community of Muslim sisters that I've built on this platform. I genuinely hope to never ever lose the sisterhood that I've built, and I genuinely from the bottom of my heart appreciate every single person that has made this journey easier for me, has said nice things to me, has been there for me, has asked me for advice, I've advised them. Like, genuinely thank you so much. I love the community I have built more than anything. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've been able to give you guys and that you've also been able to give me. Islam genuinely changed my life for the better, and it's something I'll forever be grateful for and I'll forever be a part of. If anyone takes anything from this video, please let it be that I will always be a Muslim, no matter what you see me posting. Well, not like I'm going to be like going around posting haram stuff, but like without the hijab and stuff, I am always going to be a Muslim. Like, don't let people in the comments be telling you she said that she's not anymore, because I've never said that and I never will say that. Like, I'm always going to be a Muslim. With that being said, I will say the most I feel like I'm on deen and most connected to Allah is when it's between me and Allah. Like, when I first reverted, I didn't tell social media for like 6 months, and genuinely I do really regret telling social media. Like, I regret for my personal self telling people, but also I know that my videos have helped so many people, so like I don't regret posting them. I'm not going to take them down because I know that they do help a lot of people, but I am also going to stop posting about Islam for a little while, maybe forever. I'm really unsure at the moment. I'd rather do anything than make this video, but genuinely I'm in a mental state that I've never been in before, and it's very scary. I know that this video is going to disappoint so many people. I know the comments are going to be filled with I'm so disappointed, I knew she was a fake Muslim. People's definitely going to be saying that. People's definitely going to be saying I use the religion for clout. They're going to be saying I knew she was going to take the hijab off, all of this stuff. I'm actually just going to have to firm the comments because genuinely I'm like actually losing my mind in a serious way. I love the community of Muslim sisters that I've built on this platform. I genuinely hope to never ever lose the sisterhood that I've built, and I genuinely from the bottom of my heart appreciate every single person that has made this journey easier for me, has said nice things to me, has been there for me, has asked me for advice, I've advised them. Like, genuinely thank you so much. I love the community I have built more than anything. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've been able to give you guys and that you've also been able to give me. Islam genuinely changed my life for the better, and it's something I'll forever be grateful for and I'll forever be a part of. If anyone takes anything from this video, please let it be that I will always be a Muslim, no matter what you see me posting. Well, not like I'm going to be like going around posting haram stuff, but like without the hijab and stuff, I am always going to be a Muslim. Like, don't let people in the comments be telling you she said that she's not anymore, because I've never said that and I never will say that. Like, I'm always going to be a Muslim. With that being said, I will say the most I feel like I'm on deen and most connected to Allah is when it's between me and Allah. Like, when I first reverted, I didn't tell social media for like 6 months, and genuinely I do really regret telling social media. Like, I regret for my personal self telling people, but also I know that my videos have helped so many people, so like I don't regret posting them. I'm not going to take them down because I know that they do help a lot of people, but I am also going to stop posting about Islam for a little while, maybe forever. I'm really unsure at the moment. I'd rather do anything than make this video, but genuinely I'm in a mental state that I've never been in before, and it's very scary. I know that this video is going to disappoint so many people. I know the comments are going to be filled with I'm so disappointed, I knew she was a fake Muslim. People's definitely going to be saying that. People's definitely going to be saying I use the religion for clout. They're going to be saying I knew she was going to take the hijab off, all of this stuff. I'm actually just going to have to firm the comments because genuinely I'm like actually losing my mind in a serious way. I love the community of Muslim sisters that I've built on this platform. I genuinely hope to never ever lose the sisterhood that I've built, and I genuinely from the bottom of my heart appreciate every single person that has made this journey easier for me, has said nice things to me, has been there for me, has asked me for advice, I've advised them. Like, genuinely thank you so much. I love the community I have built more than anything. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've been able to give you guys and that you've also been able to give me. Islam genuinely changed my life for the better, and it's something I'll forever be grateful for and I'll forever be a part of. If anyone takes anything from this video, please let it be that I will always be a Muslim, no matter what you see me posting. Well, not like I'm going to be like going around posting haram stuff, but like without the hijab and stuff. I am always going to be a Muslim. Like, don't let people in the comments be telling you she said that she's not anymore, because I've never said that and I never will say that. Like, I'm always going to be a Muslim. With that being said, I will say the most I feel like I'm on deen and most connected to Allah is when it's between me and Allah. Like, when I first reverted, I didn't tell social media for like 6 months, and genuinely I do really regret telling social media. Like, I regret for my personal self telling people.
Hello and welcome to Liuberty Tonight. I'm your host, Brian Piotr, and I am excited for this evening. I have a wonderful show planned out for you. But first, please take a moment and breathe in this beautiful shirt. If you support me and you want to make friends with me out in public, you're going to notice this shirt and be like, what's up? I'm going to go talk to that guy. This is how we meet friends. It's just like undercover. We love liberty, and we love these two people from Kentucky. I too am from Louisville, Kentucky, and man, I've been thinking about my designs. This is Austin Peterson's design on the forlibertyshop.com, which I absolutely love. I've been thinking a lot about products this week. It's not just a political statement. It doesn't just have words on it. It's actually it's the Argentinian flag with Javier Milei on it. And I just feel like it's a beautiful shoe. It's a beautiful design. One of the best. And I save it for special occasions like political events, and I make nothing but friends wearing these shoes. So I've been thinking a lot, like, what do I want to design next? What is your idea? If you're watching, I'd love to figure out, like, what is the next beautiful piece of art to wear on our feet to help signal to everyone else in the world that we know what's up, that the government's evil, that we need to end the Federal Reserve, that Obama did not make affordable health care, all the beautiful and fun things that we have in the world. But anyways, this evening we have Bryce Lipscomb coming on. We're going to discuss the future. That is, what do we think is going to happen? 2026, 2027, 2028? But mostly, let's make some concrete predictions and find out which one of us is more likely to be right, and we can check back in on this video in a year. I think that's really the true test of your political philosophy and your understanding of the world, is your ability to forecast what happens. I don't mean 9/11 in August of 2001 like Alex Jones. I don't mean you have to channel, the Holy Spirit or something. Just where do you think things are going? What are people actually doing? And what is going to happen with our Franklin the Turtle memes? This is the beautiful world that we live in. This is our thumbnail for the evening. There are so many of these. Many of them have been made. A lot of famous ones have been made by Maverick Alexander, who has been talking to me about coming on in January. Very excited to talk to him about what it's like being a meme lord in World War meme, and the effect that he's having on the world. Getting your memes retweeted by Elon. That's a pretty good win for your hard work. A good bang for your buck. Franklin listening to liberals crying. Franklin confronts his friend about his gambling addiction. Franklin drives past Tim Wald's house. Guys, come tell me, anybody who's here, do you have your own favorite Franklins? Are you collecting rare and special Franklins? I see AP for Liberty's joined. Welcome, AP. Thank you for being here. Bruiser55, as always, thank you so much for being here, my friend. I think that AI plus old-fashioned books that we have all of us have on our shelves is just a wonderful 1-2 punch. Oh man, Franklin fights back. I tried to do Franklin with his middle fingers up in a Cinnabon, and Grok wasn't good enough to do it, but it tried. And GPT and Gemini wouldn't do the middle fingers. So it's like, I need the one with free speech that's willing to try actually be better. That's really the truth, isn't it? You're stuck with Gemini or ChatGPT for the things that it's actually not socially justice being told you can't do. Franklin drives by Tim Walt's house and calls him retarded. Good job, you base turtle. Yeah, God bless Franklin. Lifting weights while listening to Creed. Psh, there's so many. There's no stop. Explains what Fauci deserves. Okay, guys, I don't know how much I can do on Franklin the Turtle, but I'm going to move on. We have Tom Homan, National Security, calling out Ilhan Omar. How'd I get that name right? But I can't get Tom right. I'm sorry, Tom. I got Ilhan. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get that one right either. She's committing immigration fraud by marrying her brother.
Mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions
Welcome,
of dollars.
Quest.
They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother.
She did.
Fraud.
Kick her out.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says, that there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who run DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
I hope we can kick her out.
Tremendous.
Be a win for the country.
And according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something's actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down.
Guys, this is awesome news for the country. The big, beautiful bill funded ICE. And it's not good to fund the government in general, but maybe it's to do its job. It's worth funding it properly for deporting illegals. So that big, beautiful bill went in June. The government isn't quick or efficient at doing anything. And so its hiring process was getting through everything it needed to do to hire people. First round didn't even go into training until September and didn't get out of training for 12 weeks, which is December. So the first round of ICE agents and Department of Homeland Security employees that have been funded by the big, beautiful bill have only hit the streets and started doing work this month. And we're about to see a real return on investment. I'm still not convinced we're going to ramp up to the $1 million a year or $10 million a year or whatever the big numbers are. But we're going to go figure out what that number can be. Like, it's be all you can be right now. Quest Fanny says, pouring one out for my brother Tito, who just passed. That is a shame. I am so sorry to hear that Tito is gone. It's always rough to lose somebody, especially a friend or family. And it's a good moment to realize that none of us will be here together. And I'm just very thankful for each and every one of you who's spending some time watching this show and interacting over on rumble.com/Liuberty Tonight. That is the chat room where we make friends during the show. And then immediately after the show for the rest of the week, we go to Discord, which you can find by going to the forlibertynetwork.com and joining the Discord there. That's where you can we chat all week long. Call me out by name, say I'm stupid, whatever you want to do, or ask me questions. I'll get on a chat room and we'll talk. That's what the Discord is for. The sound on the clip is a bit quiet. Yeah, it was a bit quiet. And that's just, it's a quieter clip. But moving on to more about Ilhan. Ilhan Omar.
It's also, again, it just shows how much he doesn't know. I know people talk about him as a genius, but to me, I think he's probably one of the dumbest, luckiest people to exist on this earth. The retirement thing for air traffic controllers.
This is one of the most genius clips of all time. That accomplishment of landing Starship, the booster, 40-story tall building, landing a 40-story. I'm gonna ask Rock, how tall is the Starship booster? The tallest one landed in stories. Silence. 20 to 25 story building, depending on how you count stories. It's 233 feet tall. 233 feet. Goes to space. Lights a rocket and boosts back to where it landed. And then lands with precision and gets caught with chopsticks. That is, taken for a moment, the most impressive engineering accomplishment in the physical world that anybody has ever done. Now, that's thousands of people that did that. And Elon probably had very little to do with the actual engineering. But he put the whole team together that did that. He raised the funds. He came up with a way for SpaceX to make money so that it could do this. All of this is because of Elon. His own personal finances started this company. And this doesn't happen without him. And it's absolutely incredible. And now that other people like Blue Origin and John Glenn have landed a booster years after Elon, he's already deep into landing a orbital vehicle, which nobody has ever done. Well, I say nobody. The shuttle was technically reusable, but they basically had to rebuild it every time it went to space. So Elon is trying to take what the shuttle was, but make it actually reusable. And he hasn't done that yet. So hold your breath, but I think he's got the best shot, and he's probably going to do it if it's possible. So I'm a big Elon fanboy for the engineering. I don't think he's a great father. I don't think that's the way I want to live my life, away from all my kids and working as a CEO in multiple companies. But yeah, Omar's all grift. She couldn't engineer a paper bag. She only knows how to defraud the government by marrying her brother. I hope that she didn't do anything with her brother, but I bet she did.
Articles to impeach Secretary Pete Hegseth for murder and conspiracy to murder and reckless and unlawful mishandling of classified information. Since day one, Secretary Hegseth has disgraced that once proud office that he holds, from issuing orders to kill everybody on board a small boat with no evidence of any wrongdoing, to launching a follow-up strike to finish off survivors who barely clinging onto their life. His actions are...
Just take a moment and realize the fact that I can read or not read a speech or a teleprompter better than this, and I'm a nobody. I do have the benefit of having spoken English for the majority of my life. It's good to see that Chris Kattan is doing great character work on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, that's kind of what he looks like, except... Anyways, Bryce Lipscomb is coming on in 15 minutes. I'd love to have chat tell me questions that they want to ask, things they want to talk about. I just can't believe this is a real politician. It really is the DC and all the capitals even more so, are just, it's Hollywood for ugly people.
Not just
really
reprehensible,
is.
but illegal as well. Former military attorneys have come out and asserted that his actions have risen to the level of war crimes. He also put the lives of our own troops in danger by leaking classified war plans in an unauthorized Signal group chat, which included a random journalist with no...
I can't handle it anymore, this guy. Yeah, Grok, I'm not going to use the word Pidgey. You know, I like people who come here and assimilate, like Vivek Ramaswamy. Speaks perfect English. He can go stand up and do a speech for 3 hours. He knows the Constitution better than everybody in DC except for Thomas Massey. Guy's a great guy. Love Vivek. That's not true of everybody. That's not true of this guy. I don't even care what his name is. It doesn't matter. I hope he's gone soon. I hope they deport him as well. But Ilhan Omar is definitely the Somali immigration problem in Minnesota is a serious problem. The Somali people are a high trust society because if you break the rules, you're getting shot and there's no government doing it. Turf war is going to come over and kill you. So in a lot of ways, it's very high trust and very much polite. And that they only do evil things if they think they can get away with it, and it's to someone outside their clan. And in our case, that's America. They believe that their clan is their small group that's moved to Minneapolis and ripping off everybody else in the world in America who gave them this helping hand is not against any moral code, and there's no reason not to do it. And we are all the suckers. And I don't really blame them because we're the suckers that let them in and let them scam us. If they are stupid and have low IQ, what does it make us and our politicians for letting it happen and saying that it's racism to enforce any kind of standard? Oh, they can't help it that they're murderers or rapists or conning us. Let them out for good behavior. And that brings me to the next story. It's not an immigrant in this case, but this man committed a horribly violent crime on a 9-year-old, where the 9-year-old dies from stab wounds. Complete stranger broke into a house, kills a kid, and they let him out on good behavior after less than a decade. And in that time, being released, he managed to violate his parole and get sent back to jail for another single year. He has 1 more year added to his sentence for breaking parole. In 1 year, the justice system will let him free again. And this is the world that we live in, where violent criminals see hardly any sentences at all, and the actual victims get no solace or justice. Like in this case, this man took a life of a young kid who had his whole life ahead of him, and he deserves to lose his. And that's called being fair. We all understand what it means to be fair. If I get 2 Oreo cookies and my sister gets 1, we know which person is fair. Like, no one had to explain it to me when I was little. No one has to explain it to me now. That's unfair. He should not be allowed to walk around free in our society. Everybody agrees with that, except for you have to be brainwashed against fairness for you to believe in something different. You have to learn a lot of things that aren't so. And that's just the way it is sometimes around the world. And I wish it wasn't that way. But we do have some good news. THS has actually finally closed. So there's been a problem of transport. How do you transport illegals when you got a lot of illegals to go lots of places? They've been relying on commercial airliners, and those availabilities have been rough. So DHS has actually spent $140 million to lease a fleet of 737s. It's just like the movie Con Air, except we're transporting illegals back to their homes. And we have El Salvadorians, we got people from Belize, China, El Salvador, or Costa Rica, Venezuela, all over. Everybody, time to go home. I'm happy for you. Fly safe. I bet they're not 737 Maxes, so you're extra safe, guys. That is what I voted for. I'm gonna hit that again. This is Liuberty Tonight with Brian Piotr. We're gonna be here all night. 10 more minutes till Bryce is here. Moving on at the same time, where we got ICE enforcing actions, we got criminals walking free. We got this. This is who's on our side to defend stuff.
It's about our financial situation. It always boils down to it would be better if you had a job and an income. And I feel like you could do more. Like, you sleep in a lot, and I'm cooking, cleaning, taking care of the animals, watering the plants.
I water my plants. You don't water my plants.
I still contribute in every area on top of working. I am worried that you're taking advantage of me a little bit.
You never said that before.
I've been trying to communicate, hey, you could put in more effort. There's definitely an imbalance. I'm kind of doing everything and you're not even working.
This isn't couples therapy, but in settings similar to this in couples therapy, that's where the real thing comes out. That people hold back from wanting to stay in person because they don't want to start an argument at home. What do you do for a living?
Guys, the world is falling apart, and this is who we have. Look, she got a nose ring. She got a bull ring. He's got a... there's probably a dude that can pull off this beard and stash combination, but he's not it. This isn't it. This is a weak man. Oh, man. Quest Fanning says we can put everybody in prison, or we can put away the 4% most insane. The establishment has chosen the former, and so we're all in prison. I believe that's 100% true. That's the way it is. That's the way it is, guys. We're all in prison with these people because that's the streets. And then this guy and this girl. What in the world? This never existed before. This weird dandy dude and this girl did not exist in 1900. This is a product of birth control and crazy education. How did you get here? You get married and you're taking care of children, and there's no question about what she does. There's a whole list of chores to do to stay alive, and you're both working very hard at all times to do it. There's never been a situation where you get married and then one person can just hang out and eat and watch TV all day and do nothing. And I don't know if that's true or not what he's doing, but I believe it. That seems to be the case. And you're not really a man, dude. I have a feeling you don't make any decisions in your own household, and you pay for everything. So best of luck to you, man. I don't think you're going to get anywhere with this. But also, I think as a society, we got to figure out how to stop producing these kind of people, because they're going to kill us just the same as the world is a violent and dangerous place. We need strong men. We need feminine women. And we need babies. We need lots and lots of babies. Moving on to libertarians.
Herman office told me it was a 6.
Find him.
Libertarians will often pick the wrong thing to fight about. Venezuelan drug boats.
We did it, Joe.
Libertarians, you do not stand up and argue to defend the drug smugglers, even if it's wrong, even if killing them is a mistake and unconstitutional. When 95% of the people are against you and you're killing a bad guy, that's not the hill to die on. It's really not. You need to find stories like this where you can paint the government as evil for being super evil, where everybody's on your side. The whole public is going to be on the libertarian side on this issue. So you need to take the tiny minority and find the spot where the whole majority agrees with you and pound home, make that your man, make that your topic, so that after topic where people go, I agree with you, I agree with you, I agree with you, I must be libertarian. That's the traditional next step.
For building a wheelchair ramp for his disabled mother. Why? Because he didn't pay for a survey first. The inspector demanded it be demolished. The judge is about to demand the inspector leave the courtroom.
My mother broke her hip. She was discharged from rehab. She couldn't get up the front steps. Permit office told me it was a 6-week wait. We didn't have 6 weeks. I built it that afternoon so she could get inside.
He built a permanent structure in the front setback without a survey or an engineering review. It violates 3 separate zoning codes. That's why we wait for permits. Further, the city requests an order to demolish the structure immediately.
Sir, what's the alternative here? You want to put her back in the hospital because your office is slow? That creates an undue burden under the ADA. I am ordering a safety inspection today. If it is structurally sound, it stays, but the fine is dismissed. Thank you.
They fine.
See, this is the winning issue, guys. This is how we do it. Like, I'm a Republican. Republicans suck at this too. Republicans will argue about things like whatever it is they're saying about Charlie Kirk's murderers right now. That, like, this guy, the CIA, or this, this person's gay, this person's not gay. It's like the Jerry Springer show right now in conservative politics. We need to find real issues that the whole country gets behind and then just pound them home so that we can actually secure victories on the things that we have huge majority support on. We don't have the power anywhere. We don't have a group of Republicans that agree with reducing the size of government to accomplish our goals. We must find the goals that we all agree with, or at least we can get a majority behind, and then leverage the majority and political will to force the government to do the right thing when it doesn't want to. I love it. I love that Kamala soundbite. Okay. Looking through. Thank you for reposting the show, Quest. I'm going to cut to break and go get Bryce, and I'll be right back. And I hope you have a wonderful time waiting.
I'd rather do anything than make this video, but genuinely I'm in a mental state that I've never been in before, and it's very scary. I know that this video is going to disappoint so many people. I know the comments are going to be filled with, I'm so disappointed. I knew she was a fake Muslim. People's definitely going to be saying that. People's definitely going to be saying I use the religion for clout. They're going to be saying I knew she was going to take the hijab off, all of this stuff. I'm actually just going to have to firm the comments because genuinely I'm like actually losing my mind in a serious way. I love the community of Muslim sisters that I've built on this platform. I genuinely hope to never ever lose the sisterhood that I've built, and I genuinely from the bottom of my heart appreciate every single person that has made this journey easier for me, has said nice things to me, has been there for me, has asked me for advice, I've advised them. I don't see you. Genuinely thank you so much. I love the community I have built more than anything. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've been able to give you guys and that you've also been able to give me. Islam genuinely changed my life for the better, and it's something I'll forever be grateful for and I'll forever be a part of. If anyone takes anything from this video, please let it be that I will always be a Muslim, no matter what you see me posting. Well, not like I'm gonna be like going around posting haram stuff, but like without the hijab and stuff, I am always gonna be a Muslim. Like, don't let people in the comments be telling you she said that she's not anymore, because I've never said that and I never will say that. Like, I'm always
I am having a day.
That being said, I will say the most I feel like I'm on here and most connected to Allah.
I am already sick of snow.
Me and Allah. Like, when I first reverted, I didn't tell social media for like 6 months, and genuinely I live regret telling social media. Like,
Western
I regret
Michigan.
for my personal self telling people, but also I know that my videos have helped so many people.
No, Western Michigan.
I
do not live in the.
Take them down because
I could never live in the UP.
But I am also going to
way
stop
too much.
About Islam for a little while.
In my opinion,
maybe forever. I'm
don't
really
feel
unsure
very
I'd rather do
exact location just because
I'm in a mental state that I've never
how
been
crazy
before,
people
and it's
are.
very scary. I know that this video is going to disappoint so many people. I know the comments are going to be filled with I'm so disappointed. I knew she was a fake Muslim. People's definitely going to be saying that. People's definitely going to be saying I use the religion for clout. They're going to be saying I knew she was going to take the hijab off, all of this stuff. I'm actually just going to have to firm the
great.
comments.
I mean, I used to go when I was a
like
kid. We used to go dog sledding in the winter, and that was fun.
I love the community of Muslim sisters.
But I mean, they can get
at
like
I
5-6 feet of snow,
and
it's just it's monstrous. The older you get, the less you enjoy snow unless you're skiing on it.
Has said nice things to me, has been there for me, has asked me for advice, I've advised them. Like, genuinely thank you so much. I love the community I have built more more than anything. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've been able to give you guys and that you've also been able to give me. Islam genuinely changed my life for the better, and it's something I'll forever be grateful for and I'll forever be a part of. If anyone takes anything from this video, please let it be that I will always be a Muslim, no matter what
I don't know.
posting. Well, not like I'm going
Which
to be, like,
is
going
funny
around
because
posting
my
haram
family
stuff,
used
but,
to
like,
own
without the
a
hijab and stuff.
lumber
I am
yard
always
up
going to
there.
be a Muslim. Like, don't let people in the comments be telling you she said that she's not anymore, because I've never said that and I never
No.
will say that. Like, I'm always going to be a Muslim. With that being said, I will say the most
I
I
spent
feel
most
like
of my
I'm
life on the
undine
East
and most
Coast. I
connected
lived
to
in
Allah is when
New
it's
York City
between
and
me
Boston
and
for
Allah.
most of my
Like,
life.
when I first
I was born in
I didn't tell
Michigan. I went to
social media for, like,
college
6
in
months, so
Michigan,
genuinely,
and I
really
decided to
regret
move
telling
back to
social media.
Michigan
Like, I regret
when I
for
started
my
a family.
personal self telling people, but also I know that my videos have helped so many people. So, like, I don't regret posting them. I'm not going to take them down because I know that they do help a lot of people, but I am also going to stop posting about Islam for a little while, maybe forever. I'm really unsure at the moment. I'd rather do anything than make this video, but genuinely I'm in a mental state that I've never been in before, and it's very scary. I know that this video is going to disappoint so many people. I know the comments are going to be filled with, I'm so disappointed. I knew she was a fake Muslim. People's definitely going to be saying that. People's definitely going to be saying I
No,
used the
you're good.
religion for clout. They're going to be saying I knew she was going to take the hijab off, all of this stuff. I'm actually just going to have to firm the comments because genuinely I'm, like, actually losing my mind in a serious way. I love the community of
I
Muslim
don't care.
sisters
You do
that
what
I've
you
built on
want.
this platform. I genuinely hope to never, ever, ever lose the sisterhood that I've built, and I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate every single person that has made this journey.
And we're back. I'm here with my guest, Bryce. How do you say your last name?
Lipscomb.
Lipscomb. It's a fantastically cool name, just like mine, Piotr. I'm sure you get to spell it every time that you talk to somebody on the phone.
I do. It's hilarious.
Well, I feel like in some ways I know you very well from interacting with you on X for months and months, but at the same time I don't know you at all. So why don't you give me an opportunity and the viewers to hear from your mouth, like, how do you like to introduce yourself? Who are you?
A nobody. Somebody who got onto X and is highly opinionated and apparently found people who enjoyed my opinion, my opinions and my low-key narcissism. I don't think I'm anybody special. I was a former representative from my town in Massachusetts. I was a vice chair of the local GOP. But other than that, I haven't really done anything of significance. At least not in the terms of what my family has done.
Well, how did you end up? You said you worked for the Republican. Are you currently a Republican or Libertarian?
I'm an independent.
Okay, so how did you end up in the political view that you have today?
That's a good question. When I was younger, I was probably a hardcore Republican. Not in the terms of, the religious right or anything like that, but I believed in old school republicanism. My heroes growing up were Warren Harding and Calvin Coolidge. People who believed that the federal government didn't deserve to be in your life, shouldn't be involved in certain activities. And the idea was to be financially sound, right? We're not going to spend more than we bring in. We're not going to push out regulations against businesses. We're not going to, harm small businesses so that they can't compete with big business. And over time, I think it was about 2015 when Trump started to run, I started to notice that the GOP was going away from that thinking. They were turning to the religious right. They were turning to the Mike Huckabees. They were turning to the Rick Santorums. And I didn't agree with them. I didn't believe that it was our business what you did in your bedroom. I don't want to know about it, but it's not my business. I also didn't care what religion you are. It doesn't matter to me. Your faith is up to you. So in 2015, I, by happenstance, started listening to Austin Peterson. And I liked the cut of his jib. He was an interesting guy. He seemed to believe all the things that I believed in. And through that, I got introduced to Gary Johnson, and I'd known Gary Johnson as you know, through my work within the GOP. I remembered him as governor of New Mexico. He's a really good governor. And then the Libertarian Party picked the former governor of Massachusetts to run with him. And you know, I was like, okay, these are solid candidates. I can't stomach Hillary Clinton. I can't stomach Donald Trump. So, you know, I pushed hard for Gary Johnson, and you know, he was the first third party person I ever voted for. And obviously he lost, but I stayed involved with the Libertarian Party locally and within the state until about 2020.
Did you work with Austin Peterson at all in his presidential race?
No.
Okay.
No. At that point, I was just interested in the YouTube videos and the debates and everything. By the time I really got involved, Gary Johnson was picked as the nominee.
All right. So that establishes a pretty solid timeline. Okay, continue. So you've progressed from being a libertarian to an independent, so there was another transition at some point.
Well, I think everybody in their heart is an independent, right? I have libertarian ideas. I have Republican ideas. I even have Democratic, liberal ideas, classical liberal ideas. And I don't seem to fit in any kind of party. But one of the things I started to notice is it didn't matter what party you belong to, there's dysfunction in all of them. The right is, at the time, it was the Trump people versus the establishment. The Democrats, it was the progressives versus the establishment. Libertarians, it seemed to be the Mises versus the establishment. And I don't know, it turned me off. And I became an independent, and I kind of stopped voting for a while because I didn't see the point. It wasn't until 2024 that I got, reinvested in politics with the Kennedy campaign.
Oh, very cool. I got to see Kennedy speak at the Libertarian National Convention last year. I was very excited about the whole deal that was put together to have him come and support Trump, and the idea that Maha was going to come and change things. And that's the perfect transition for as independent as you are and all the opinions that you have. Where has this administration what do you think he's done a good job with, and what has been the worst part of the administration?
For Kennedy or Trump?
For Trump, and within that, Kennedy.
I don't think Trump has really done much of anything. We're $2.9 trillion more in debt. He said he was going to try to get, he was going to pay down the debt. That's never happened. Mm-hmm. He talks about the 200 and something or $200 and something billion that he got from tariffs, but in October we had a deficit of $290 billion. So that kind of wiped that away. Kennedy promised that he would go after the vaccines. That hasn't happened. In fact, they're partnering with Big Pharma. And so I see, honestly, it's been disheartening. I completely regret not only everything that I did for Kennedy, but everything that I did for Trump at the same time. Because I feel like it was just a gigantic lie.
Okay, well, I agree with you that there's a disappointment all around as far as what we would get.
It's not even just disappointment. We were promised America first, and what we have is Israel first. Everybody that surrounds Donald Trump is a Zionist, and their loyalty is to Israel. There is not a loyalty to America. America comes second to these people. In their minds, America is second. And for me, that's a spit in the face. I voted for you because I thought that you were going to be honest and you were actually going to do the things that you said you were going to do, and you were going to put America first. I haven't seen that. In fact, Donald Trump has spent more money on Israel than any other president before him.
Yeah, he definitely has. Trump spent a lot of money in a lot of places. But here's something that I will give him. Like, let's talk about the things that I actually can still be thankful for. Gas was $2.35 a gallon for me this last time I filled up this week. I'll take it.
Okay, small wins. But at the end of the day, groceries are still expensive. I'm talking to people all over that are worried that they're going to lose their house because they can't afford it anymore. People are being bought out who are trying to buy houses. The housing market is so saturated because you have BlackRock going out and buying up all these houses. And, you know, that meant that not only messes with the mortgage rates, but it, you know, messes with the inventory that we have. We have no inventory because you have a gigantic corporation, Zionist corporation, that is coming in and screwing Americans. And then Donald Trump came out and said, oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to give the Panama Canal to BlackRock.
So as far as structural changes, this administration is not going to make any structural changes to the status quo, but I'm still I can still be a big enough man to be thankful for the wins that I do have. It is cheaper at the gas pump than it would be under Biden. All things considered, he would have spent more money on solar and wind instead of letting people drill on our own oil, like in our own ground. So I'll take that. We have taken the wave of illegal immigration down to zero and started ticking it back a little bit.
I actually agree with you on that. He has done very well at the border, and I am grateful for that. The problem is he hasn't kept his promise about the mass deportations. People are still here. People are not getting mass deported.
I agree that
and we can go and we can say that it's the judges and it's all these things and, you know, whatever. We can have that argument.
What do you, so perfect segue. I do think that nothing got done on deportations really on a consequential number this year. What do you think will happen in 2026? You want to take a swing at guesses for things?
Democrats are going to win across the board.
No, not for the election. What will the administration actually get accomplished in the next year?
Nothing.
Total deportations. How many will we see?
No, they're not going to have total deportations. They're going to deport some people. They're going to throw out some wins, but we're not going to see any significant change.
Forecast a number. I mean, are we going to see less than 1 million deportations next year?
Probably, yeah. I would assume.
And we saw millions come in every year, and we're going to ultimately...
Under Biden, we saw about 10 million flood in, yes.
Yeah.
I just don't see that. One, when you run the numbers, I think Grok said it was $1.9 trillion it would cost to get everybody out. And we're $39 trillion in debt. So there's no money for that. All the money is being, you know, gobbled up in either the welfare state or in the military industrial complex.
So that's immigration. Do you think that we will see a market forecast of flat up or down?
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the stock market? Are you talking about the housing market?
Break them up if you like. Housing market, stock market.
One thing that I'll say for Trump is he's been good for the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
I have a significant amount of money in iRobot, the people that make Roomba. I bought it when it was like $1, and I bought a significant amount of stock, and I've nearly quadrupled what I put in. And then he you know, his investments in robots, which I think is actually a good investment, right? The future is in robotics, and he is trying to make sure that America can compete against China. So I think there's going to be wins in the stock market. He is good for the stock market, but the housing crisis is about to burst. The bubble's going to happen, and I think we're going to, you know, we're going back to the recession, the Bush recession years. Layoffs have been at an all-time high. And in fact, I think they're comparing it to the levels of the Great Depression. So I think we're going to see housing markets plummet. I think we're going to see the stock market continue to go up. But that doesn't do anything for a lot of regular people, right? Because most people aren't invested in the stock market.
Right. And interest rates are set by the Fed. So we have a flat communist set point.
Powell's going to continue to, screw us over, and I think continue to screw the administration over.
In any case, I feel like they're going to be reactionary to whatever happens. So if we have a bubble burst, for me, I personally feel like the AI bubble, it could blow up double from here before it bursts. But it's definitely a giant bubble. And I don't know when it's going to burst. But 2026 wouldn't be we really don't need that much to fall flat. Like OpenAI on its own, going BK, could do it on its own, because there's a chain reaction of all these other companies that are invested in it. It could be somebody else. I feel like that's the most likely source. Like 2001 tech crisis knocked out all these or all these internet companies. We could see the same thing with all the AI companies who are getting unlimited checks right now. Liquidity dries up. Investments turn.
They'll probably get bailouts.
Will we actually? By who? Like, will the U.S. government bail them out?
Yeah, I'm assuming that the U.S. government will bail them out. I mean, that's just what we do, right?
We didn't bail out the tech industry in 2000. We bailed out houses because people live in houses.
We bailed out the automotive industry. We bailed out the banks. We bailed out,
We've bailed out automotive because of voters who work in automotive. We've bailed out homes, banks because of people that live in homes.
Hold on. We bailed out the automotive industry because that was going to keep people's jobs. And what ended up happening was people still lost their jobs. I live in Michigan.
Right.
I love Detroit. Detroit's one of my favorite places to go. I'm a huge fan of the Ford Motor Company. I know people who were involved in the automotive industry their entire lives, as I was a kid, and their jobs got wiped out. So the money that, other than Ford didn't take a bailout, but the money that went to Dodge, the money that went to GM, the money that went to keep Chrysler up and running, all they did was take that money and give their executives an increase in pay, and they didn't save any jobs. So that bailout did jack shit.
Well, no, I'm not claiming that it successfully did what it was advertised, but the political will backed it up to get across the desk in Congress, right? And the political will did the same thing in the housing crisis to get the money out of Congress. Will the people in America and in Congress be willing to write a check to bail out AI tech companies? I feel like the American people are going to be more.
I don't feel like the American people have a say in this anymore. I don't think if you talk to people out in the real world, like I have been talking to farmers that are just outside of the city in which I live in, 40 miles outside of the city, and they don't feel like the government's representing them. They don't feel like they're getting their fair share. They voted in this guy, and they don't feel like things are going the way that they wanted it to. Tariffs are hurting them. So, I don't know.
Here's the question. If the U.S. government cuts a check to OpenAI, who goes bankrupt, will heads roll, or will the world continue? Like, will that be enough to actually take people out of Congress and actually immediately change people's political winds?
No, there's only going to be one thing that's going to change the political will going forward. And it's not going to be how conservative you are and how liberal you are.
What's it going to be?
It's going to be if you're a Zionist or you're not a Zionist.
You're going to come back to the one issue. This one issue does not control the country.
Look at my posts and look at the things that I have posted on, and you can see a bunch of people saying that's my one issue going forward. If you're owned by the Jewish lobby, I'm not voting for you. If both people are owned by the Jewish lobby, I'm not voting at all. That is going to be the number one issue going into 2026, and that is going to be the number one issue going into 2028. And we don't want to have that conversation because we're too scared. And I mean, I get why you don't want to have that conversation because, you know, you're part of Austin Peters' network and he's a pretty large Zionist.
I don't think that that's a reasonable, like, the reason why I don't really want to talk about Israel is because it's kind of the same thing that Tucker Carlson says, is like, it's a small place, it doesn't matter. I don't think
when they're involved in our politics and they're involved in our media company and they're involved in the entertainment industry, when they control the means of communication, that's a problem. When they control Congress, and when Thomas Massey says every single congressperson has their own little AIPAC rep from the Jewish lobby, you know, that's a problem. And okay, you might not want to discuss it, you might not want to talk about it, but that's what people are concerned about. Mamdani won the election in New York because he was anti-Zionist. Trump voters went in for him because he said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to Israel. I'm staying in New York, and I'm going to fix the issues that are here. And so people went to socialism because of that issue. Look at Miami. You got somebody who refused to, you know, answer any Zionist questions, take on, you know, any kind of, big Zionist money, and a Democrat won for the first time in what, 30 years?
So if you're gonna talk about Israel, the problem is really Likud, right? It's really Bibi Netanyahu, who's under investigation for fraud in his own country and looking to hold on to power, get a pardon. He's fighting his own existential battle inside of Israel. The guy's been in power for 17 years. He's a dictator inside of Israel. He does try to come and force his way and get America into war with Iran, and he's a negative influence. But do you think that Likud can even hold power in Israel?
I'm more worried about the people that are buying our congressional seats right now. You have a Israeli that's getting involved in Thomas Massey's district and spending millions and millions of dollars to try to unseat him.
Who?
Miriam, I forget her last name. Anyways, but she runs one of the big casinos in Las Vegas.
It's not 100 people. It's like two really rich billionaires in America, and
it's more than just two rich billionaires. It's a bevy of billionaires, and it's also AIPAC. And the issue is that we have people that are bowing before them and saying that I went to Congress or I went to the Senate to help Israel, and that's it. And that's the greatest threat to America right now. We don't have people sitting in Congress that are putting America first. We don't have people that are willing to stand up and say, no more. We're not going to be bought out. We're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to stand for it anymore. We're going to put the American people first. And until anybody does that, nothing's going to change.
I'll agree with you that congressmen who put themselves first, put Israel first, put Somalia first, put the whole list together and put them all before America is the problem in DC. And we won't fix it with anything short of completely reconstituting one of the parties and likely completely replacing and reconstituting the Republican Party. I do think that the boomer class that funds AIPAC and put Donald Trump in office is retiring and or passing on. The Soros juniors and all the other juniors are going to have a different way they want to do things in the world, and the politics of America will change. We're in a structural debt cycle that will end. It feels like it'll never end. It's been forecasted to end by people like Peter Schiff every year, and it hasn't yet. But this will end, right? Like, we cannot borrow money forever. Eventually someone stops borrowing or trusting the printed money. So
where are we borrowing our money from?
Well, when
Where's the majority of that
when the
coming
Fed
from?
buys $40 billion
China,
a month.
China isn't the number one, although a significant proportion of what we spend goes to China on the debt. Yes, but where are they taking the majority of that money from? They're taking it from the American people. They're taking it from Social Security. They're taking it from the VA. They're taking it from veterans' pensions. They're taking it from all of these things, and until we stop or tell them that they can't have power of the purse anymore, or they can't do this, let's be real, until we pass the balanced budget amendment, which forces them to balance the budget, nothing's going to change. Not a damn thing is going to change.
I think you've hit onto the largest issue, and the Fed is buying $40 billion a month now of U.S. Treasuries. When they say they're buying it, they're literally buying it with money out of thin air, right? They're taking treasuries off the market and onto the Fed's balance sheet. That's printed money. And that is the largest problem. We have a global dollar currency, and it's not all 196 countries, but it's the majority of commerce around the world, including Saudi Arabia for a reason. All all oil trade is settled in dollars. And when we print money, when the Fed creates $40 billion a month, we're sending it around the world and we're sharing the inflation with the entire world. And so in a way, we are taxing the entire world with our inflation. And they're going to get sick of that. They're eventually going to jump ship, change over to the next currency the moment there's another one. And what do you think it might be? Do you think it might be Bitcoin? Do you think that might be what actually people move to?
No, I think there is a war on Bitcoin right now. And with the volatility of cryptocurrency, I don't see the majority of people seeing that as a true alternative. The only way that we're going to save what we have is if we return to either a gold or a silver standard. Our money needs to be backed by something. The people that back their currency by something are the ones that are going to eventually take over the dollar. Now, Muammar Gaddafi tried to do that. He tried to say, fine, we're just gonna, I'm gonna back my money by gold. We went in and we overthrew him. So eventually this is gonna lead to, I think gonna lead to a war, or something completely drastic is gonna happen. You have 39% of Gen Z who see Hitler as a good guy. We're at this point where we're at like the Weimar Republic in Germany right now. And we're at this catastrophic moment that if something doesn't change, young people are going to turn away from the system of our founding fathers and look towards something else. And that's my biggest fear right now, is that eventually we're going to look for a strong man. And we're going to look for somebody who's going to tear the republic asunder and install authoritarianism. And that's my biggest worry right now.
Yeah, it's about that. That's what we all think is going to happen. It feels inevitable, but we don't know the future as far as if it actually will happen.
I mean, we can look at history and we can try to see when we were at this moment in time before, what happened. You saw the rise of fascism, you saw the rise of communism, you saw the rise of Nazism, you saw the rise of authoritarian government. And that went into World War II. So,
Yeah, but in terms of timeline, Weimar Republic starts in 1918. Maybe it gets installed by 1920. And it takes another 19 years before we're deep into World War II.
The Weimar Republic was more in the 20s. First, there was a communist government, and then the military came in and did a coup, and the military took over. And then there was the Weimar Republic, and then that fell.
So it was a very long transition of nearly 20 years to go from one end to the totalitarian nightmare.
That might have been in Germany, but if you look in Italy, it wasn't that. The fascists marched on Rome, and the king completely bowed, and Mussolini became prime minister, and then Il Duce right away. There was no fight back. There was and we can argue whether or not he was good for Italy. A lot of people, can say that he was. He definitely, Italy was one of the only countries that wasn't significantly impacted by the Great Depression. But I don't know, man. I'm worried about the future. I'm worried that we're hugging the line of authoritarianism, and that's where we're going to go. And you can't count on any of the political parties because they can't function.
I agree with you 100%. And one of the major reasons why I left Colorado is because it was a blue state, and COVID really made it a scary place, an unpleasant place. And I'm thinking about you in Michigan. Are you comfortable living in Michigan long term? Do you think that things will remain more or less safe for you inside of the state of Michigan? You're not going to have a Facebook post or an X post that goes and have the Stasi at your door?
No, I'm not worried about that.
You think Michigan's going to turn towards more libertarian views?
No, I don't. I think libertarianism is dead in America. I think that the 2024 election was the nail in the coffin, and I think that people might look at libertarianism and say, "Oh, there's some good ideas," but nobody's going to back a full libertarian ideology. That's just not going to happen.
Do you think it's going to head more towards Whitmer or less or away from Whitmer?
It's going to go towards populists, and whoever can convince the people that they are more for them. Populism is the future until authoritarianism decides that populism is no longer the mainstay.
So I remember staying up on the night of 2020's election and watching videos of trucks showing up in Detroit, unloading pallets full of ballots, and then Detroit turning Michigan blue at 2 a.m.
Right.
Do you think that Michigan has fair and legit elections?
Yes.
Oh, really? So do you think the 2020 was stolen in Michigan?
In Detroit, yeah.
Yeah. So
But he wasn't going to win Detroit anyways. I think it would have been a lot closer than it was. But yes, I think that there were a lot of there were absolutely votes that shouldn't have been counted that were brought into the Detroit area. That didn't happen in 2024. And
have you read the rumors on X about how Elon saved the country from the election being stolen in 2024?
I have, read some of those things. I think
enjoyable conspiracy theories.
I don't know if a billionaire did, anything to actually move the needle. I think X did. I think people exchanging ideas on the open market, that is X, that was the big change, right? That was the thing that I think pushed Trump into the White House. I think people are tired of wokeism. I think people are just, they're fed up. There's fatigue. And I think right now there's voting fatigue. It seems like no matter who you vote for, you're getting the status quo. Right now, I'm actually interested in the 2026 gubernatorial election here in Michigan, because the person that is getting the most funding is not a Democrat and not a Republican, it's an independent. So it's very possible that Michigan has its first independent governor in 2026.
Yeah, well, I support that absolutely. I don't really care what party they're in, just that they'll be less intrusive in your lives. So I mean, I don't know anything about that candidate, but why not?
He's the mayor of Detroit. He is the man who balanced the budget, took them out of debt. He balanced the budget every year that he was mayor of Detroit, which is
amazing,
unfrickin' believable. Detroit has one of the nicest downtowns in America. I know that Trump said it was a shithole, but if you actually go to Detroit, and you go to the downtown, it's ranked one of the nicest downtowns in America. Now, on the fringe and on the outside, there's still issues. There's pockets of just, junk, and that still exists. But Detroit has actually made a major comeback from where they were when they went bankrupt to where they are now. And I think, Duggan is a significant reason that happened. Yeah,
Detroit is an unbelievably beautiful town on the water, on a lake, and in the summer is an incredible place.
Detroit is a beautiful city. I recommend that if anybody wants to actually see for themselves, go visit Detroit. You'll be very surprised when you go there. It's walkable. You can go wherever you want. I never feel uncomfortable when I'm in Detroit. I bring my family all the time. It's a great time. And, I think
that's okay. So
I think in order for us to succeed as a nation, we need to bring industry back. And my hope is to see the Motor City become the Motor City again. But there's far too many government regulations that are harming business right now, making it almost impossible for automotive startups to compete. And that's what we really need to be taking care of right now. Like, we need to make it so that it's not hard for people to start up. Like, if you look, when Henry Ford started the Ford Motor Company, there were hundreds of automotive companies. People don't realize this in Detroit. A lot of them did not succeed, but it was easy for them to incorporate. It was easy for them to get investors. It was easy for them to find employees. It just came down to production. And Ford found the magic potion for that, which became the I can't believe I don't really
the assembly line.
Yes, the assembly line. When he mass produced, his vision, should be the vision of every single corporation, and that was, I want to mass produce so that I can bring down the costs. He was obsessed with bringing down the cost of his car. At that time, it was a luxury. It's only the rich were allowed to have it, and I'm talking about the wealthy elite. That was it. Ford didn't like that. He said every single person should be able to be independent, and that's what the automobile does. It allows you to have independence. When he created the assembly, that assembly line, and he was able to mass produce the cars, every year you could see the costs go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. And he built a solid, the Model T was probably the best cars. I mean, there are still Model Ts that are on the road today just because of the quality, right? Ford has a problem now because everything is too automated. But I think that we need to start going away from automation. We need to start getting more people into factories, and we need to start mass producing. And if we mass produce, we can bring the costs down. We need businesses to start wanting to invest in their employees and give high wages. Why do we want high wages? Because we want workers to be consumers. When workers are consumers, our economy skyrockets. And right now, people aren't feeling comfortable spending their money.
Right, and we've turned a country that makes things into a country that borrows money to buy Temu crap and Amazon crap from China. I do want to invite anyone who wants to ask questions of Bryce to come into our chat on rumble.com/Liuberty Tonight and ask some questions. I see Quest Fanning is asking that if we get rid of all the illegal immigrants, maybe we can start moving on the people with bad highlights in their hair and maybe the welfare moms. Yeah, I think we have a cultural problem in this country as well. So back to the matter of hand of
she makes a good point though, but that's not, the welfare moms are not the problem. It's the system that set them up to be reliant on welfare. So that's the problem of the Democratic Party that we don't talk about enough, is that they made people relying on them, on government. And when you do that, you create a system of people who are going to be constantly poor, never going to be able to go up, because if they make say $100 more than they make now, they don't get to have the food stamps, they don't get to have the welfare. There's no incentive for them to do better. And that's the problem.
Yeah, we have the welfare cliff.
What we need to do is we need to incentivize them to get out and work.
The problem is Democrats invent a system and then Republicans end up defending it. So Social Security, Medicare, welfare, there's many 99% Republican states that have all of the Section 8 housing as any other state. Like, there's no Democrat institution that does not get defended and used by Republican states. And then Republicans own Congress, they never repeal anything. So Obamacare, nothing. Medicare Part D, largest increase in spending prior to Obamacare, Republican, George Bush. It's just about the growth of the welfare state and dependence on government. It never goes backwards. We were promised Doge, and we got crumbs. Like, we got tiny crumbs. As hard as Elon tried, probably
Doge ended up costing more than it saved us.
I don't believe that, because the Doge initiatives will last decades, right? Automating Social Security is a benefit that will be there for 100 years. So
maybe
requiring you put
automating
in a code.
Social Security is fine, but when we keep borrowing from the Social Security funds and we don't have enough to pay out the people that are retiring, we're still in a system in which we're screwed.
Yeah, the sad thing
problem isn't necessarily that that Social Security exists, though I don't think it should. It's the fact that we're borrowing from these funds and we're not being able to pay back the amount that needs to be going out. What's the answer to that? I think the answer is again, the balanced budget amendment. We need to balance the budget. We should not be spending more than we bring in, period.
We won't pay the piper until the very end, until there are no other options. And no
Why is it that the last president that we had, that every year that they were president, they had a budget surplus, was Calvin Coolidge. And before him, Warren Harding, before he died, every single year we had a budget surplus. Every year they had a Doge. It was called the Bureau of the Budget, and basically that director would go around, and the president and the not the attorney general, the treasury secretary at the time would say, okay, you need to cut your department 40%. I want cuts 40% across the board. And we don't do that anymore. In fact, we have a military budget that's almost in the trillions now, and we have a welfare budget that's just completely out of whack. We should be going into every single department of our government and saying, you need to cut your expenditures by 50%.
Right, we can't even do that.
No.
They legally have issues where they have to spend the budget allocated to them by Congress, and the judges will force them to spend money even when they say, "Oh, you only spend."
We also have neocons that are gonna panic that if we don't spend all this money on the war machine, that we're not going to be prepared. And there's the fallacy. They're not actually worried about us being prepared, or we have a great defense system. We have a bunch of nukes. We have everything that we need. What they're afraid of is that if we cut the military budget, well, then the military industrial complex doesn't get fed. And the military industrial complex helps get them elected.
The best fighter plane is a plane that has components made in every congressional district. And the F-35 probably costs twice as much as it should because it has to have parts made in every congressional district.
And we don't even need them anymore. We have drones.
Exactly.
I know people are like all over Obama for the drone thing, but I'd prefer that if we're going to get involved in a conflict, Let a drone do it. Let a drone deal with that shit.
Absolutely. I mean,
If you get the drone,
everybody knows.
Nobody dies.
Everybody knows that F-35 doesn't need to exist anymore. That we could have we could have 5 drones for the same price as an F-35.
We also don't need 800 bases overseas. We are an imperialist nation. We are an empire. You don't have 800 bases across the world if you are not an empire. And
the British people called their empire an empire, and that's why they had to get rid of it. We don't call ours an empire.
No, we don't, but we are. We're still an empire. I don't care what anybody says. But if you look, we're edging onto where the Roman Empire was, right? Towards the end of the Roman Empire, they were vastly all over the place. They were running out of not only copper, tin, gold, all of that. They were inflating their money. They were losing their resources. They were spending far too much on the military, and everything collapsed. So what we need to do is have a serious conversation in this country about, do we want to continue this beautiful gift that we were given by our founding fathers, or do we want to lose it to empire? Because Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, if they were alive right now, if somehow we could bring them back, they would be disgusted about what happened to this country. They wouldn't recognize anything, probably say, you know what, it's time to give it up. It's time for a new revolution.
Of course, I would bail on the world empire. I would bail on our social programs. I would bail on California, but I don't have any power in this state.
I don't want to bail on California. I don't like secession. I'm not about that. I want to keep the Union intact. I want to keep America intact. It is not the fault of the Californians that their government makes it so that the Republicans can't win or anybody else can't win. This is a system of government, and if we actually wanted to do something about it, Trump could go in and investigate Newsom and the things that he's doing in California, and we could sue him. We could bring him up on criminal charges, but we don't do any of that shit.
We should really do reconstruction of California. We should send in troops and rebuild
I have
it.
no problem with that, but that's the problem. We're not going to do that. We're not going to take things seriously. Like, here's the thing: it is illegal to be a sanctuary city. We could bring up the mayors on charges. We could bring up the governors on charges, but we're not going to do that, right? We're going to talk and we're going to talk.
Yeah,
not
yet.
We're going to say we're going to do. We're going to say we're going to do stuff, but we're not going to actually ever get anything done.
When you shoot everybody who's a Charlie Kirk, you're going to radicalize everybody who's young. And when the older generation of Nancy Pelosi and Donald
Young
Trump,
people are already going towards more extremism, and it wasn't Charlie Kirk that did it. I think that woke up a lot of people up, but I know a ton of young people who didn't look at Charlie Kirk at all. When I go out and I talk to young people, and I talk to my cousins that are in college right now, and I ask them questions or I ask their friends questions, do you know what the biggest thing that they talk to me about is?
What?
Guess.
The fact they'll never own a home.
No, not even brought up.
FanDuel.
Nope.
You tell me.
Israel.
Yeah, the Palestine.
That is the number one
Palestine
thing
stuff.
It's not even Palestine. It's not even Gaza. I'm shocked about how deep these kids go down the rabbit hole of the international Jewish lobby. I mean, they're tracking like what companies are owned by these Jews that are coming in and basically feeding us propaganda and subverting our government and subverting our country. So the young people are radicalized. The young people, whether anybody wants to admit this or not, young people are listening to Nick Fuentes. Young people are listening to Candace Owens. Young people are listening to Tucker Carlson. And they're becoming more and more extreme as time goes on. And their views are getting extremely hostile towards Jews. And I think that that's something that we need to look at. Like, the Zionists want to blame everybody but themselves. But maybe if we took Zionism out of our government and restored it back to the people, and the people could feel confident again in their government, maybe things would change. But you have people who are out there helping the subversion, you know. I love Austin. I know that you're part of his little thing that he has going on there. But
yeah, we're the For Liberty Network. I do
the
think
For Liberty Network, but that pushing of Zionism and neoconism, it doesn't do anybody any justice, and it only pisses young people off.
Like I believe that the majority of the people in Israel are great first worlders, like valuable citizens that could have a really great country. They have a leader who has less than 30% support.
You can't just blame it on their leader. I'm sorry. Like, that's a cop-out.
Leadership really matters. They have somebody who's
it does, but you need to start going and you need to start attacking the people that are here in this country, subverting this nation. You've got BlackRock through Larry Fink. You've got Larry Ellison. You've got Disney. You've got all these entities that are owned by Jews.
You're calling out the Zionists.
Yes.
Bibi's party is the Zionist party.
It is, but
he is a
symptom.
It has 30%.
The billionaires that have all the money that are able to run the narrative, those are the people that are the problem.
Okay, but my point is he's got 30% of the support in his own country. It's like saying Putin doesn't matter when Putin obviously has.
He's not the significant issue. The significant issue are the people that are here in the United States that are subverting this government and pushing the international Jewish lobby propaganda on us and trying to brainwash people like they did to the boomers and Gen X.
I honestly think that Soros and Bill Gates are the evil enemy, not because Soros is Jewish, but because they're evil. They're rich and evil. There's a group of really rich globalists who do really evil things, and some of them are Jewish and some of them aren't.
Who runs the central bank? Which big family runs the central bank?
The Fed is on a 17-person chair or board.
Yes, but who has a significant amount of power in a lot of countries when it comes to central banking? It's the Rothschilds. They have it with real estate. They have it in banking.
The Rothschilds aren't as powerful as they were.
They are absolutely very powerful. They're still powerful. To this day, they have a lot of interest. In fact, do you know where they don't have power right now? Guess where? Venezuela. Why are we in Venezuela?
Oh, because they stole the election in 2020. Well,
you seem afraid to be wanting to have the conversation that needs to be had. So we can move away from it, and we can go around everything.
Honestly, I think that Israel will have a revolution, or finally get a new government for the first time in 20 years, and they won't have the same type of country anymore. Like it won't be war hot. They won't be ready to bomb everybody and start war with Iran. And that,
will they continue to settle, do settlements? Will they continue to push not only Palestinian Muslims out, but Christians? I mean, they're burning Christian. One of the last Christian towns. So they're bombing Christian churches. They are taking down idols of the Virgin Mary and Jesus and breaking them.
The second largest party in Israel hasn't had control and is against settlement in Palestine.
Well, God willing, they'll take over sometime soon. But, I think that you're going to have to look at the people who control the money, and the people that control the money have a significant investment in Bibi.
So the structure of their parliament is basically the first largest party in the Likud, and then the Orthodox team up to control the country. And the deal is that the Orthodox don't have to serve in the military, and that's really all they care about. We'll support you in the parliament as long as we don't have to serve in the military. And that's the deal that Likud's made with them. I don't remember the name of the Orthodox party, but that's
the Orthodox party is also one of the biggest settlement. They're the ones.
They're very pro-settler also.
Yep.
But they're like hey, whoever makes a deal with us that I don't have to serve in the military, we're with you.
Yeah, it's definitely that, but it's also the fact that Bibi is just like turning a blind eye to the settlers and allowing them to do whatever they want.
Right.
And
so we're like,
the people that are stealing houses, those individuals happen to be Orthodox, majority.
Their governments are the bad. The government in control in Israel are the bad guys. They're doing evil stuff and starting wars in the Middle East. But that doesn't represent the majority of the people in Israel. And Israel is actually a very secular place and has a lot of problems. They destabilize the whole Middle East, but they don't control and run everything in this country just because there's a few.
I never said that they run everything. What I said is that they run the media and they run the entertainment industry, which is exactly what they do.
Which is fine. Those two places are losing power.
They have considerable control over our financial institutions and our real estate institutions. So there is a significant amount of power that the international Jewish lobby has here. And when you control the media, you control the means of communication. You are the one that gets to decide what the propaganda is. And the propaganda that we are being force-fed is that Israel is our friend, that they are God's chosen people. And yet they're attacking Christians, they're bombing Catholic churches, they're just defacing statues of Jesus, basically declaring war on Christians. And I'm sitting here going, how is that a best friend to Christianity? How is that our greatest ally when they're telling people that it's, Gentiles, you got to kill them? It doesn't. I'm sorry, there is something wrong. And the fact that if you dare to question anything, if you dare to say anything about Israel or the international Jewish lobby, you are anti-Semitic. That is what they paint you with. Now, the problem is that word does not hold the same weight that it used to.
I'm all on board with making honest criticisms of the government of Israel. But the international Jewish lobby is not a group chat, right? There's just rich Jewish people who are own companies, own property, own banks.
They don't just own companies, man. Like this is where you decide to venture off. When BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street invest in a company, Vanguard will take 10%. BlackRock will take 15%, and State Street will take usually a single digits, but it's enough for them to be able to make a difference on the board of directors. They can basically steer the ship of that company. Where does woke come from? It comes from not Larry Ellison, but it comes from the CEO of BlackRock. That's where it was born. So yes. A lot of the issues that we have when it comes to transgenderism, my friend, where did that shit start from? It started with the international Jewish lobby. The people that are pushing this, the people that are promoting this, the people that are helping parents sue governments are part of the international Jewish lobby. And you have to start asking yourself, is there a problem here? Or is this all just make-believe? Because you seem to think that it's all just make-believe and that these people don't talk to each other and there's no big conspiracy. But when you start lining up the biggest issues that we have when it comes to immigration, who's pushing that shit right now? Who are the biggest lawyers that are trying to help illegals stay in this country? Who are the people that are helping displace all of these Islamic people that are thrusting into Europe right now? You can't deny that there isn't an issue with these particular individuals, that they aren't doing things that are subverting this nation and making this nation weaker.
I agree in the problem of people who believe in woke ideology, global warming, the New World Order.
Who is all pushing that, man?
Those are globalists trained at elite institutions. And for sure, so like Bill Gates, is Bill Gates part of the international Jewish lobby?
What?
Is Bill Gates part of this international Jewish lobby?
Oh, he has definitely funding from them, sure. You look at the Gates Foundation, you look at his connections with BlackRock and Think.
He's not Jewish.
No, he is not.
So this is a group of people.
The people that run Pfizer definitely are. The people that help create.
I don't think it's a religious-based.
I'm not saying that
identity.
It's a religious based. What I'm telling you is that there's an international cartel out there. They just happen to be Jewish, and we need to be able to admit these things. We need to be able to call out. We need to call a spade. And for those that are just going to sit back and say, well, no, that's not really a problem, you're part of the problem. You're allowing the subversion to continue to happen, and you're thinking, oh, we're going to deal with it in the ballot box. Well, no, we're not. We're not voting our way out of this shit anymore.
I refuse to believe that this globalist cult is religious based, or even
again, I say that it was.
It's more like they have a religion of Satan. Right? They want to see the world burn for some reason.
What did Jesus call the temple? What was it? The temple of Satan?
Everybody who's not a Christian, I think, is kind of aligned. So for me, I can understand why the LGBT crew and Islam can work together. From my point of view, they're on the same team.
Are they?
Yeah, they're both going to hell, and
if
they're
we
working
look
together.
At it, if we look at it, Islam was not a problem until we decided, along with the UN, that we were going to establish a Jewish state in the Middle East. In particular, what was known as Palestine at the time, and that we were going to break it up.
Go ask Spain if Islam is a problem in 1200.
Go ask Spain if the International Jewish Lobby or the Jewish bankers were a problem for them. I think Isabella and Ferdinand would definitely tell you they were.
Okay, but Islam obviously has been fighting Christianity for 1500 years, 1700 years, whatever the right number is.
Everything has always been fighting everybody. We've been fighting them. They've been fighting us. If you look at the world, it was always empires, right? Yes, the Ottoman Empire just happened to be Muslim, but that didn't happen that didn't happen by accident. That happened because the Khan, Genghis Khan, who ended up taking over basically a good proportion of the world, when he died and his children wanted to keep the empire together, they realized that they needed something that were going to unite everybody and keep everybody under one roof. And they decided Islam was going to be it. And that's when the Ottoman Empire became a thing. So the idea that Muslims are only killing Christians is ridiculous, because if you look at when the Romans were defeated by the Persians in that area, and the Persians said, okay, you guys can, to the Jews, you do what you want and everything like that. You just, live your life. They were massacring Christians left and right. And to the point where the Sultan had to come in and say, whoa, you're done. You're under us now. Like this is sick even by our standards. So we can cherry pick what part of history we want to look at. But the problem isn't necessarily an Islamic one. The problem is that we have a small little tiny state that is destabilizing an entire region and creating these people who are trying to flee the area because they don't want to die, and thrusting them into Europe. And you can blame that on Muslims, but it's not necessarily their fault. It's a good chunk of Israel's fault. And yeah, it's a little bit of their country's leadership's fault as well. But if you're not going to put blame,
suicidal empathy, or whatever what Gad Saad's book is called, is real too. There's people in Europe, people giving away free money, and then everywhere in the world wants to go get it. There's Iraqis from the war in Iraq. There's Syrians. There's lots of people who are like, let's go to Europe where they're going to give me X dollars a month.
Most of those people don't even live there. They want to go back to their homes, but they can't because their homes are destroyed, or they really can't live there anymore because of the system of government that's there. What we did was we created this crisis of migration.
This isn't even a real crisis in a lot of countries.
This is a responsibility of the United States and Israel, mostly Israel, causing mass migration from the Middle East into Europe. And until we deal with that, because Europeans, at least Italy is waking up and saying, yeah, it's their fault. Austria is doing the same thing. And a lot of these governments that are turning more rightist or flirting with fascism are understanding where the shit began, and they're calling it out. And here we have people that are influencers who are bought out by these people and benefit from keeping the status quo.
That's not a real characterization of what is happening in Europe. Immigrants are coming from all over North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the Middle East to get free handouts in
it's not just
Sweden,
the free handouts, man.
Germany,
France. A lot of it is from Libya, where we bombed the shit out of that country and destabilized that government. We have been working to destabilize Somalia and the surrounding areas. When our government gets involved and starts destabilizing entire regions, you get mass migration. And countries are absolutely handing out the welfare because they don't want these people on the street. But you can't just say that it's the Muslims, because that's not true. That's not intellectually true. What you're doing is you're creating a false narrative, and you're basically spoon feeding the people that listen to you Zionist propaganda.
Here's the narrative. Poor people find out about nice places giving away free money and figure out how to get there. The problem is that they have low IQ, they're violent, they don't fit in with Western culture, mainly because they come from an African society or Middle Eastern society and they happen to be Muslim. All of that is mixing oil and water. So you get rape, you get murder, you get all sorts of crime. But the origination of all of this is we find out Europe is giving away free stuff and encouraging immigration, and the whole world wants in. Same thing with America.
Germany's not. Austria's not. Czechoslovakia is not. Poland's not. Yeah, there might be, certain countries that are, but that is not all of Europe, my friend. To say that is just plainly dishonest.
Germany's giving away thousands of euros a month for people who are asylums,
so that they don't have people on the streets violently going after their people. They're trying to get people off the streets. That's the whole point about giving this money away. You say that this is what's causing the mass migrations. You know that that's intellectually false. You know that the big problem is the fact that we are getting involved in these regions and we're destabilizing governments, and we're causing a significant amount of migration going into Europe. And who is the catalyst for all of this? This is Israel. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're part of the AP for Liberty thing, and I know that you guys probably make money off your Zionist push. But I think that it's just
no one's getting paid for Israel.
Full integrity to not call out the entirety of it. And when you only blame one individual or one people, you're just feeding in to the propaganda. And that's a problem, man. Like that's that. And listen, you'll have to deal with that yourself. You'll have to come to terms with that yourself if you want. But at some point, you're going to need to go down the rabbit hole. You're going to need to connect the dots. And the dots are connected to the international Jewish lobby and to the military-industrial complex.
I will say
whether
that,
you like it or not.
So, no, you're mischaracterizing my point. I believe that basically any Israeli can move to America and learn English and become American.
I don't.
Be a Jewish American.
No, I've lived in New York City. I can disagree with you on that one because I've witnessed that they can't.
I know dozens of Jewish people in my life who are.
Okay, you know dozens. I know thousands. I have lived in Brooklyn. I have lived amongst the people that have come from Israel. I have seen the mass amount of entitlement that they have. I have seen some of the lowest IQ'd individuals that happen to be Orthodox Jewish individuals. So while you have a handful of dozen people that you've interacted with, I have lived amongst them in neighborhoods. My experience is far different from yours because I actually have experience. You don't.
So what you're saying is the majority of people have many of the people in Israel could not become American. They couldn't.
I didn't say many of them. I said
wouldn't
I don't
assimilate.
think when you say all of them,
I do basically think almost all of them.
That's wrong. No, I'm sorry. That's not true. It's just not. And a significant proportion of them that come over are more Israel first than they are America first. They will put the interests of Israel before the interests of America. And that's the problem.
Right, but I do think they could incorporate themselves into our society, even if they preferentially say they have.
They create their own societies, dude. And in Brooklyn, you will see neighborhoods in which they have created their own societies. They don't like people coming into it. They don't like people moving in. You can say all the things that you want, doesn't make you right.
Okay, but
listen, and I'm not saying that all like that is true of every single Jewish person that's in Israel. I'm not saying that at all. There are definitely, and I know, and I've broken bread and I've eaten with. And I've had Passover dinner with some of the most wonderful individuals I have ever met, but I've also broken bread with Muslims in Dearborn, and I've met some of the most kind, loving individual, very highly intelligent. They wouldn't be working in the automotive industry. They wouldn't be working as engineers if they weren't intelligent. These people are highly intelligent. I think that you do a disservice when you paint Muslims as all low IQ, just because they happen to come from an area like Africa. Are there low IQ Africans? Yes. And that's the problem, that's the fault of their government. Are there low IQ Israelites? Plenty.
I'm on board with immigrants coming here with an IQ test.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
There was a time that we only took, immigrants from certain countries. The percentage were from desirable areas in which, they would find a way to assimilate to this country. The problem is that we don't care anymore if you assimilate. And we should. We should care if you assimilate to the United States. You should want to assimilate to our nation. To the Somali factor in Minnesota, that's a huge problem. Are they low IQ? Absolutely they are. Are they a huge significant problem in that area? God, holy shit, yes. But then you go to Dearborn, and I'm sorry, but most people have never been to Dearborn. Those people are kind, considerate individuals who don't like to be pressed, they don't like to feel threatened. And when you threaten them, yeah, they're going to push back. But if you go there peacefully and you want to enjoy Dearborn, you're going to have a very nice time. You're going to have a safe time. If you're going in there beating bacon up against the Quran, you're not going to have a really great time.
Right.
But I can tell you they're a lot more intelligent in Dearborn than they are in Minnesota.
Right. And apart from intelligence, do you think it's okay to be polygamist?
It's none of my business. The fuck do I care?
You live in a culture, you live in a neighborhood. You want to live in a neighborhood where everybody on the street has 4 wives but you.
I don't care what you do in your private life.
That
is none of my damn business.
You can still choose who would you like to be your neighbor.
Oh, yeah. Am I going to want to live in that neighborhood? No.
Right.
No, I'm going to want to live in, honestly, a Christian community that shares my moral values. But what people do in the privacy of their home, like the Mormons, for instance, that, there were Mormons that used to have, and some of them still do, multiple wives. That's not my business. If the state decides that that's not something that they want, if they vote, if the people vote and say, bigamy is not okay. Okay. But if a state decides, hey, I'm cool with it, who the fuck am I to judge, dude? It's like people that go and go to brothels or go to prostitutes. Like,
Right.
I don't
So
care
just
what
take-
you do in the
so-
privacy of your own, in the privacy of your own bedroom. So long as it's two consensual adults, I don't give a damn. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to have to hear about it. I don't want you throwing it in my face, but I don't care.
Okay, so on one level, I think we both agree. We just agree on different levels. I'd like to be like, you're free to do that in Somalia, not in America, and I draw my line of where I want to have monogamy at the United States.
But you don't get to determine that for everybody. It has to be, is this something everybody wants? And listen,
this is where I'm fighting for that.
Great.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm happy that you're doing it. I'm fighting to get the international Jewish lobby out of our government because I think that's the most important thing right now. I think that's the biggest threat to Christianity right now. I think that's the biggest threat to American morals right now. That's my fight. Your fight is bigamy, which I don't really actually see that as a huge problem. But hey, good, good on you.
I'm for ending abortion, monogamous Christian marriage, and lots of children.
Listen, I hate abortion. I wish that it didn't exist. I think that it is an abomination. But at the end of the day, I don't want to tell a person what they can and cannot do with their body. The body is private property. And, they're going to have to justify what they've done to their, to God when they die.
But take it to one level of
taking that choice from an individual is not the
but
business.
here's a signal. We say, we don't allow abortion in this state, the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, perfect.
And the people who disagree with us won't move here or leave here if they're here.
Hey, good. Then you don't have those people.
That's the kind of signaling that we're ultimately got to fight on the values that we care about at the level we want it to be at. Right? The more local, the better. The more, ultimately, if my community is a bubble, that's awesome, and I don't care about the rest of the world. But if the local metro and the local state has an effect on my life, I'm going to push the boundaries of what I'm going to try to protect. And I don't see a reason to secede past the United States boundaries right now. In any case, we got 10 minutes left. I did not expect the conversation to wind as it has, but I've appreciated the time I've gotten to talk to you, Bryce. And
I think you probably wanted it to be more about politics and more about that. But, here's the thing. My interest isn't in politics anymore. I'm not interested in the Libertarian Party. I'm not interested in libertarianism. I see the party as fractured beyond all repair and a completely dysfunctional thing. And I don't see them becoming anything functional in the future. The things that I'm more concerned about right now are the things that actually affect Americans. And to me, that's Zionism.
What are your goals? What would you like to achieve personally, or what are you going to use your time to try and do?
I'm going to continue to do what I do on X, which is expose what Israel is doing to the Christian community in the West Bank and in Gaza and within Jerusalem itself. I'm going to continue to expose the international Jewish lobby and the people that control the means of our media. I'm going to continue to rally against that kind of power here in the United States and pray to God that people will start waking up and decide that they don't want Congress people that are bought by a foreign nation. And, that's my hope. That's what I want to continue to do. At this point, I'm tunnel vision. I don't even. You asked me what my what my political philosophy is. My political philosophy is Henry Ford. And at this point, if you can't follow the basic ideology of Henry Ford, then I'm not going to vote for you, and I'm not going to get involved in the political arena. I'm just going to continue to say what I say. I'm going to continue to bring up the things that scare me and worry me. If I lose followers, great, don't care. If I, continue to, I'm getting like 300 people following me a day right now since I've been focusing away from the political stuff and focusing more on exposing, Zionism and what Zionism is doing to the United States. I think that's what people are hungering for. I think America only. That's what we should be discussing. Like, I would love to talk about America only. Let us get away from all of the foreign entanglements and return to an isolationist nation. And when I say isolationist, I don't mean, we don't trade. American isolationism, we were isolationists for quite a long time. We still traded. We just said, we're not going to have any treaties with you. We're not going to have any, alliances with you. We're not getting involved in your politics, and we're definitely not getting involved in your military. And that's what I think we should be doing. We need to return to the glory days of America, when Americans were safe in their communities, where Americans had good, decent family moral values. And we're not going to get that until the international Jewish lobby is out of America and we are out of the world. I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm so sad that she's leaving, but she's right. Donald Trump needs to park Air Force One and not leave until he's dealt with the issues that are here in the United States. And every president should do that. They should not leave this country until all of the issues affecting our people are being dealt with. You have a Secretary of State, allow them to go overseas. That's what their job is anyways.
All right. So I do think that the core issue there is, like, I agree with the words America first. We have to just agree on what that means to be an American, right? Like,
I'm not even America first anymore. I'm America only. I don't think America first really truly says it anymore. I like when MTG says America only, and I mean that, America.
So inside this country, what's it mean to be an American?
I think you have to be born here. You have to share the values of of what it means to be an American.
What are our values?
I think our values are, our values do not look like what they used to, which was, towards the family, towards the people, towards the worker. And that's what our values need to represent. Our values need to represent the labor. Our values need to represent the family unit. Our values need to represent some sort of morality. And we need to.
But what morality?
I hate saying this because I know that people say that, oh, you're keeping other people out, but I'm talking, Christian morality. The morality of not cheating on your wife, the morality of not beating your child, abusing your child, abandoning your child. Like, we have to have, we need to go back to the family unit, the nuclear family. We need to invest in the nuclear family. And when we do that, America is at its best. And I don't think we do that anymore. I think that kind of went out with JFK after he got shot and after Eisenhower died. I don't see a focus on the nuclear family. I see people talking about it, but then you look at what they're doing behind closed doors, and they're certainly not keeping up with that. So yeah, I think that there needs to be a return to some sort of moral Christian values in this country regarding the family. And I think the family needs to be put first. And until that happens.
Do you have any children?
I do. I have a daughter.
All right. Are you hoping for more?
No.
Oh, well, that's
my wife. My wife had a hard pregnancy, and we've decided that is not something that we're going to be doing again. But my child is my life. I would love to have more kids, but that's just not what's in store for us. And that's okay, because God gifted me this beautiful human being that I love more than anything. I'm not a perfect father. I stumble all the time. I don't allow her, I think, the independence that maybe she should have. But God, am I so grateful that this child came into my life, because I lived a hedonistic lifestyle before this. Before I met the woman that I love, and before, you know, my child was born, I lived a hedonistic lifestyle. I lived a lifestyle that wasn't becoming of the people that the people that I'm hoping to talk about. You know, I definitely lived two lives, and it was bad. And now I have this amazing life, and it's all because of this amazing little girl that came in. And I don't know, are you a parent?
Yeah, I've got number 5 on the way in March.
Then you just know what kind of miracle that this thing, you know, this child brings into your life. When their eyes light up when they see you come home, and Daddy, oh, I missed you so much. Or when, you know, like when I would travel for work, and I would have to be away at, like, you know, a week or 2 at a time, and then I would come home and my kid would just light up. And to me, there's nothing better than that, man. There is nothing better than that feeling. And I wish everybody would have children, would stick with their partner, and try to raise their kid in a 2-family household. I think that's extraordinarily important. And I'm hoping that that's something that we push towards in the future, that we invest in the family unit, that the welfare moms that have, you know, a bunch of different kids, and, you know, their dads aren't a part of their lives, like, let's, instead of pushing that, let's start pushing to make sure that the mom and the dad stay together for the kid. You know, when families were together, this country was stronger. And we had less mental health issues. And, you know, that's, I guess, my hope for the future.
Absolutely. I think it'd be nice if you couldn't go to Congress until you've had your kids. Like,
yeah,
because you're going to vote for the next generation when you're there.
Exactly. I think that, you know, everybody should aspire to have kids. I don't think that these young women who, you know, are flaunting the fact that they've had 1,010,000 abortions are a good thing. I think that that is a brain rot. I think they're losing out on something truly special. And, you know, I think, again, you know, the isms, and I'll leave it at this, and I won't mention it again because I know we're done, but, you know, who created all the isms? Feminism, socialism, fashion, you know, like these isms were all created
by doctors, by psychiatrists,
by Jewish people. Now, the guy that created PragerU, he said it best. Isms were created by Jewish individuals. Whether or not we want to agree with that, feminism has weakened this nation. The feminism, the femininity of men, and pushing them towards more feminism is hurting us, I think. I think a man should be a man. I think that he should want to take care of his children. I don't mind if a woman wants to work. I think that's beautiful. If you want to have a 2-income household, power to you. My wife works. She makes a damn good living. I am so proud of the work that she does and the person that she is. But when she's done with work, she is about the family unit. She is about making sure that my ass is off the phone and I am present with my child. And, you know, everybody needs a woman like that next to them, that reminds them to put the damn phone down, to put work down and focus in on the family unit.
All right. I think we're at time, and that was a perfect note to end on.
And by the way, before we go, I do want to apologize. I don't mean to say that you are a Zionist or anything like that, because you're not. I think you're a wonderful individual. I truly admire the person that you are, and I think that you bring up a lot of great ideas and a lot of truths. But I think we're going to have to take your mindset and my mindset, and we're going to have to find a way to mush them together. And I think that when we do that, we're going to find the answers.
Yeah, or at the very least, let's not be too big of people and just focus on the issues we agree on and work together on the issues we agree on. I'll work with Bernie Sanders if he wants to cut something, right? Like,